All right, hey. So in today's video, what we're going to do is something pretty exciting to me. We're going to personalize inbound calls so that a caller is recognized by their phone number and then therefore referred to by their name or some other attribute, whichever attribute you choose. So today I'm going to show you how exactly you can do that. Many of you have been wondering in the community, how do you set something like this up? So it's quite simple. We've kind of done something similar in outbound calling, but if you want to do strictly inbound calling, how exactly does this look? So first I'm going to show you what this agent does, how it works, what it looks like after I've built it, and then I'm going to show you how to build it as quickly as possible. The other thing I'm going to show you are some common pitfalls people run into when they're building out this agent, especially with dynamic variables and also when sometimes they have issues with configuring the webhook. So we're going to make sure you don't fall into those same traps. All right, so first let me call this agent. I have a country club agent here set up. You can see it's just a super simple agent. It greets the caller by their name and then it checks whether they're a member or not. Based on their membership status, it then routes them to certain different menu items like booking, different reservations for a restaurant or what have you. So it's pretty cool. And I'm just gonna, we have default settings here. I'm using Grace. Her voice is kind of realistic for this model. So I'm gonna go over here and just do a Google Voice call. So you can see, and let's see how this works. So I'm going to go call.
Thank you for calling Marvin Country Club. Is this Mark?
Yeah, this is Mark. How can I help you?
Hello, Mark. Welcome to Marvin Garden Club. I see you're listed as a non-member. How can I assist you today?
I was wondering if I could book a reservation.
Thank you for your interest, Mark. Since you're currently a non-member, reservations are exclusive to our members. However, I'd be happy to share information about our membership options, which include access to fine dining, exclusive...
All right, so you get the point. If I had been a member, it would have allowed me to book a reservation, and I'll show that to you right now so to prove the point. I'll change my status here in the Google Sheets. This is the database that we're using as member, and then watch what happens. It's pretty cool. We'll call it again. Okay.
Thank you for calling Marvin Country Club. Is this Mark?
Yes, you're speaking to him.
Wonderful to hear from you, Mark. I see you're listed as a member. How can I assist you today?
Hey, could I book a reservation?
Absolutely, Mark. I'd be happy to assist with that. Could you let me know the date, time, and number of guests for your reservation?
All right, so there you can see. So you can see that works just great. It can differentiate based on my membership status and then offer me different perks or benefits associated with that membership, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how I set that up. It's quite simple. Right here is the make scenario that we're using. So you can see this, just a simple make scenario. It takes a custom webhook that I've grabbed here, searches a Google Sheets row, which I made based off a number. In this case, what we're doing, I set it up to be my number in this case right now, but what you would do is put in, so you'd replace this and put from number, okay, and then hit save, and then you return exactly in this format. This format has to be precise, otherwise it will not return the information correctly. So I'll just show you exactly how to build that. And the other thing is we have the Google Sheets. So one thing people don't understand is when you're setting up Google Sheets, this took me a good hot minute to figure out, you can't put a plus symbol here. So you have to go to number formatting just like this, and you have to go select it, go format, go to number, and you want to go custom number format right there. And it should look exactly like this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So you want to click one of these so it looks like that. I actually had to write this out, because otherwise it will think your plus is some sort of operation and then it doesn't get the number right. And the reason you have to have the plus is because retail is sending over information right here, as you can see, that includes the country code right there in that little section. So it has to match exactly. And you'll see that right now as I'm building this out. So if I go and build a new scenario for you, I'll just show you how I put this together. And then the dynamic variables will make sense as well. So if I go, let's just create a new scenario, turn off this scenario so that it doesn't interfere, off. And we'll just go and put webhook, custom webhook, put test here. Okay. And I'm going to copy that address to clipboard, bring that back to retail. And now this is where the magic happens. You have to put that webhook right here in the inbound section, not the outbound. Make sure you get that correct, inbound section. And so now when it's calling in, it's going to reference this link. It's going to send it over here, and it's going to do whatever we want. So if we set it connected to a Google Sheets, this is our database in this case, you'll see what will happen. Sorry, I lost that right there. Is we're going to do a function, search rows. You'll see we'll be able to do certain things. So like in this case, I want to go to caller list for this country club. And I want to go sheet 1, that's just the default. Filter. And now we're going to search based on a certain criteria. So here we have, if we go back, we have the number, name. We want to search based off number, right? So it's automatic. As soon as the call comes in, it searches based off this criteria. Right now, we don't see the webhook information. That is because we haven't done a call in yet. But as soon as we do a call in, then it will show up right there. So save. And then we want to format the webhook response. So I'm going to hit webhook response, and this is where we would format that right here. Perfect. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is go back to my agent, and you can see, I'll just give you a high-level overview of what we've done. Just dynamic greeting based on caller's name, checking membership status. So I've put in these dynamic variables. Now, what's cool is about retail, all dynamic variables are formatted this way. It's homogeneous. So if I say, like, where is a good opportunity? Yeah, right here. So thank you for calling Marvin's Country Club. Is this name? So this is what we say right here at the beginning. Is this whoever the person is that we're referencing? If we go, so we're saying, is this name? This is referencing me right here, right? This exact case. So just so you know, it has to be the exact format. It's case sensitive. So if I put is this name, lowercase, it would not work, right? So it has to be uppercase, or else the dynamic variable will not go through and it will not recognize, and you'll have a disaster. So that's very important. And what's cool is with retail, I was saying, you can test this. So if you want to test a dynamic variable, you have name, status. So if I put dynamic variable name and status, make sure it's case sensitive, hit save, I can actually go, hello? Why is it not doing it? So it should be doing it. I don't know why it's not doing it. Is this? So normally you can test it. Maybe I'm missing something here. Name mark. Okay, I'm not going to fiddle with that because it's working normally. So, but normally you can test it there and it works great. But, so you get the point. That's just using dynamic variable. And if we go back over here to Google Sheets, we have name, status, everything set up. And now what I'm going to do is just go and configure what we already have. So let's do a redetermined data structure. You want to click this, and then we're going to call the agent so that we know the information that we're looking to receive. We're going to redetermine data structure. Make sure, verify that this is the address in retail. Yes, it is. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and call the number right here. So here we go. And watch what's going to happen. Successfully determined. See that? Isn't that cool? And now, okay, I'm going to let it keep ringing. This is to illustrate a point. Watch. Even though I'm calling the number, many of you have had this problem. Even though I'm calling the number right now, look at this. It's not, this is a retail number, folks. It is not picking up. So as long as the webhook is not being sent back successfully, the number will not pick up. That's just the way that it is right here. And many of you have been like, what the heck? Why is my number not working? When you've accidentally maybe put in a link in this inbound call webhook URL. I'm going to stop that because that's annoying. And you've been like, what in the world? Why is this not coming through? And that's the reason. So you have to make sure that the data is being sent back. In this case, this was intentional because we just want to be taking the data. We don't want to be sending it back. So we've successfully determined it, hit save, and now that gives us some more information. So if we go over here and we go number, we should have some more. So we have, there it is, from number and to number. We want to put in this case the from number we're using. So this is the number that's calling from Google Voice in this case, and then over to retail. And that's how we're going to search. So before I put that, actually, I'm gonna make sure that the Google Sheets is working. So what I'm going to do is go here. I'm going to put in the number I'm using in Google Sheets. Can any of you guess why I'm doing this? I'm going to copy this number, put it into here, and I'm going to hit +1, make sure it's exactly formatted as it should be. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this Google Sheets because I want this webhook response to have the data readily available for me to manipulate. So I'm going to go here, run this module only, boom. And now it's giving me the data that I want. This will all make sense in a second. And then I can put this information as so. See, we have the information, name, status coming through. And that way, when I go to put in and format my information, so I'm going to go format, should look something like this, space, name. And then we're going to put in, make sure you don't miss any of these apostrophes. And then we're going to put right here, name. This is the information we're sending back. Comma. Don't miss the comma. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for status. Sorry about that. Status. Make sure you're formatting it in the right case. And then just like so, we'll hit status once again. So very simple. This is your first time doing this. We're sending back the information that we're defining, which is pretty cool. And there you go. So if I hit save, we'll double check it, make sure my JSON there is correct, but that should be correct in that case. So now I'll go back and replace it with my dynamic number, not just my actual number in this case. And we'll hit from number. And that way when I actually call this system, it should work. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to hit run once. I'm actually going to hit immediately as data arrives. Make the system go. There's some unsaved changes. Make sure you hit save. That's very important. And once we do that, we're going to go back here. Now it should work. So I'm going to test it right now. And I'm going to go right over here and call. Let's see what happens.
Thank you for calling Marvin Country Club. Is this Mark?
Yes, this is Mark. How can I help you?
Hello, Mark. Welcome to Marvin Garden Club. I see you're listed as a member. How can I assist you today?
Thank you. That's fantastic. I'm a member. All right. Well, have a great day. So look at this. It just went through and the data was sent. Now, if I were to stop this again, I already showed it to you, but just to really drill it down into your head so you know what's going on here. Look, it sent back exactly the data defined, Mark and member, right? But if I were to go, let's say we set up a filter and the condition was, let's say we made a mistake right here. So let's say, I wasn't sending back any data at all, right? Let's just see what would happen here. So I'm going to hit delete. Now I'm going to call the system and see what happens. And therein lies my point. We can keep ringing, and it's never going to pick up. And that's precisely because the data is not being sent back in the webhook response like is needed. So I'll put that information back in here. But now you can see, just put that right as so. But now you can see exactly how this works. And I hope this was helpful to you because you have this webhook scenario. Just to recap, you have the Google Sheets, which you can set up on your own right here. You have the system in which you format the numbers, which I've given you. And then you have the place in which you put it in the inbound call webhook URL. The last thing is, of course, being careful with the dynamic variables. Just make sure you format them correctly. Make sure they match the case as they're being sent back. Here, this case matches this case. Very important, both uppercase. And with those 2-3 last things said, I believe that is all for you. If you have any questions, please, you can message me directly in the community, but hopefully that helps a lot of you out there who are looking to set this up for a client or just struggling with it for yourselves. All right. Thank you.